Hello, hope you're doing good. Um, my internet seems to stop. It's going on midnight here. Um, I was just watching the video, and all of a sudden, I'm surprised. I'm glad my TV didn't go out, but my my for some reason it keeps buffering. I went to go check the router, and I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and it's not showing like I'm not online. So I decided maybe I'll make a video, and I want to show you about the latest. And I was just thinking about this when I was in the shower, and I was thinking about, you know, on the topic about this guy right here. Another topic, and I made a couple videos and some other videos and on other people's point of view on Umar Johnson and and his supporters. And one of the things I can say about his supporters is that they never really think about the people that he be bragging about, Frederick Douglass, people like Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey. If you ever see these people, and if you see old film of them, if you ever see them in pictures, in their writings, they never had this kind of. They didn't have to boost themselves. They didn't have to go around saying that they were the greatest in the world or what they do. They never had to do something like that. Neither did any of their descendants have ever bragged about that. People who are, connected through generation through Frederick Douglass. I was watching something earlier today with the descendants of Ida B. Wells and Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X children, and the relatives and great grandchildren, and who are today of the Frederick Douglass, a couple other well-known African American historical figures like Martin Luther King. And one of the things I know about this, they never went around saying they had to use their deceased relatives' names constantly to get donations out of the public. You never hear about any of their relatives. Not one of them I ever heard of them. If they open up something or they present over something, that an organization to represent their relatives that were part of history, like Marcus Garvey's and different individuals, Frederick Douglass, they represent them right. They represent them in a cool manner, and really people come to them and collaborate. What was it like being a descendant of these people? And they actually go to their relatives. Now they had something recently where they had a descendant of Ida B. Wells, her great granddaughter, and a couple other people, and they just showed the picture that, and you could see the resemblance in the family, even Frederick Douglass' son. And the strange thing about this, I didn't see no one come and sit down and have Umar, but yet Umar likes to brag about these different individuals. Also, I have noticed this, is that Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey, they were very poised men. They didn't do a whole lot of talking, and when they talked, it was strictly intelligently. They weren't loud. You didn't see some photographer had them over someone's graveyard, doing some insanity things, because they had cameras back then. They would took pictures of them calling on their ancestors over their graveyard, poured libations. You didn't see them doing that. But yet you have Umar on certain occasions. There's other people have made got have him filming him stand over at the graveyard, and he's got to have the camera in his face, telling about what the ancestors of these people are. And I think it's pathetic just to try to use a deceased person's name. I mean, you know, even if I was related to somebody that was really famous, I could not use their name just to come up on them. It's just like and maybe who knows, maybe God, I might be someone related, but even if I was related to somebody, I wouldn't use their name like that. You know, I would have some decency intelligently, because you have to make your own way. Have you ever noticed famous people in the celebrities and that people highly respect, whether it's in history or whether they accomplish something, things of well-known musicians, actors, politicians, people that carry a name where thousands and thousands of people do. Even though that they are related to them, they don't use their name just to come upon them. They don't use their name to get donations. Sometimes Hollywood, sometimes even if they come to Hollywood, they want to show how proven, how particularly are they as good as their famous relative, so they have to put in the work for themselves. And sometimes I've seen celebrities and their children and their cousins and relatives who are related to them, their siblings, they make their own name. And if they have some project, they don't use their relative's name. But why does Umar seem to do that? And think about it, if you're the greatest person, greatest scholars, greatest this, how come other people are not showing that your work? How come other people are not saying that, yeah, his handiwork has helped solve the problems of children? Why does not his colleagues? I'm just giving you something to think about. Some of you Umar supporters. Why does not not one colleague, black or white, that say, yeah, he did excellent body of work? See, what I'm saying is that you ever notice that the people came to Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, all these different individuals, people come to them, big and great and small. And it's a certain responsibility they had on their shoulder. And they didn't go around acting like a nut. And even people that's related to Elijah Muhammad that's in the black community, his descendants, they're not acting like nuts. Oh yeah, I'm related to Elijah Muhammad, and they go out and ask for donations online. They ain't gotta brag about what, if Elijah Muhammad was a good man, his descendants, people automatically know. And the name carries itself. But I don't see none of Elijah Muhammad's, the Nation of Islam, relatives doing that. So why does he gotta do that? Even if you go to the continent of Africa, there are well-known leaders over there, well-known political freedom fighters, political leaders over there. If they have relatives, people already come to them. They don't go around bragging about, oh, I'm the baddest and I'm the biggest in out there. People come search for them, and then they're not going to disgrace their relative's name who is deceased and try to call up their spirit or pray to their spirit to give them help. Then you have insult to injury, turn around and ask God, the Creator, which he didn't call on in the first place. He called on the ancestors. Then, when you do the reality of what the name Pan is, I suggest some people really look up what Pan Africa, but really what the name Pan really means. And you will find out what is the symbolicism behind Pan, the name Pan. It's a deity that black folks use. That's another thing. But I just wanted to draw that to Umar supporters' conclusion. And have you ever seen any of their descendants? No matter if it's Ida B. Wells, Marcus Garvey, do you ever see them relatives act doing that? If they're Garvey, do you see them around there constantly online calling up Marcus Garvey's spirit? Or any of the descendants of Marcus Garvey? Do you see any of his descendants doing that? Let me ask you something. Do you see Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman's relatives doing that, descendants doing that? Come bring the whole Harriet Tubman's spirit to come down? They make their own name. And they will honor, people come to them and tell us what your relatives who were the children of, they're the grandchildren of the descendants or their relatives, how they were like. I'm just curious. I was just thinking about that today. It's like, wow, that some person had to validate themselves all the time and give you something about history. But the people that they talk about history didn't have that kind of demeanor. And it's really sad because a lot of black people that support Umar don't even sit down and think about that. They never really sit down and think about and study the pictures of Marcus Garvey or Malcolm X. They didn't go around acting like a nut. They didn't go around screaming and saying that I'm the baddest dude. Malcolm X never did nothing like that. Neither did Martin Luther King. Neither other great men who were excellent speakers, excellent, powerful influencing people. When they directed something, it wasn't name calling. He would just give an example, and he would do it in the integrity way. They were so poised in integrity, and the Nation of Islam trained Malcolm X to be that way. Not go around babbling like a fool. And even though when they had a disagreement, Malcolm X still maintained his poise. He didn't go, even when they had a disagreement towards the end. Malcolm X didn't do nothing like that. You don't see Martin Luther King's descendants of Martin Luther King's acting like that. Any of his cousins, relatives, trying to capitalize on his name, trying to get donations off of people to raise something for a school. You don't see them doing that. They don't have to do it. Because the people that know Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and these other people, they come to them and ask them, can they put something in their dedication in their name? They don't have to do nothing. They come to their descendants and their relatives, to Marcus Garvey, to Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman's descendants. But he didn't do that. Saying he tried to exalt himself, that he's trying to be like them, but he can never hold a candle to them because he has a flip-floppy personality. And I don't believe that neither one of those leaders had an ego that everybody could see. Their ego wasn't like that. They were tough, they were firm, but they were rational men and women. And that's something that Umar is not. He's not rational when you see his actions. And I have watched different people criticize him, and this man won't take accountability for his own mouth is his own destruction. The reason why he for example, he makes a claim about is kind of buffering right now, but he makes the claim that there was some people in Delaware that trying to sabotage the school. That it was. That's not how you handle things with local government up there. And he kind of bugged on. He told everybody to don't call up there and harass that government employee. Pretty much harassed him in a way like, all these calls have been barred. How come we can't have a festival, with a little festival in front of an abandoned school that have been open for almost 20 some years? And it's just the crazy part about it is that people still sending money, and they never really sit back and study his character. They hear about what he says, and never go back and fact check. Is he telling the truth? What the information that he's giving them? Whatever he says, boom is boom. It sounds convincing, but when it comes to their children, especially when it comes to their mental health, you might want to see if what he's saying is correct, because the information that he's so-called trying to tell you could do something worse, or traumatize him even worse. But some of his people, where he goes and they pay him, they pay him for this information. It's setting up. There's some people gonna support that. They're gonna take his word for it, because even though he got some information that could be true, but they don't get the whole thorough truth in helping their child. And like I said, he's all over the place. He's all over with his. He's not consistently. And then when something goes wrong, he don't take accountability. He don't take accountability that he's wrong. And some people, like he wants to deflect on something, like the latest thing with his school, like he blamed it on the plumbers. They probably didn't do the work, because he probably had halfway paid them. He's telling you that, but he probably didn't give them the rest of their money. They might have a dispute, but we don't know what the plumbers say. But he's telling you what he said. But why did those plumbers did that? Why did other people have skipped out on it? Have you ever thought about that? That maybe he probably have paid them for the work. They wanted their money, rest of their money, or they packed up and go. But they're not gonna do no more work on it. But he's telling you that he's probably gave them all their money. But what about the HVAC people and all these other people? How do you know? What's their side of the story to it? See, sometimes you gotta really hear what people are saying and really analyze what they say, and look at the actions. And it's taken almost 10 years to get the funds. Then he had to find a building where is legally is not good. The land is got waste underneath it. Lord Jamal pointed out that you can't raise. He has contacts that he know you cannot survive off a school asking keep going to the public. They're thinking that black people are just going to keep training, using them like a personal ATM across the country, and that somebody's not going to at least question it. And he's been given almost $500,000 to close to that. What is he doing? And when someone give you something, when they give you the blueprints on this is where the money's going, that he's just telling you, but you don't even see the blueprints behind it. Where does the actual spending go? He's telling you, but he's not showing you where your money, like taking a chart and just saying, hey, taking a chart and what his prescribed, what the people's giving them the money, He's not taking a chart and maybe, when he comes online and saying, okay, this is the breakdown. We got this much for the, showing you the actual count. Someone do the numbers. Well, how much is for the HVAC? How much is for the plumbing? How much is for the necessities to get the other rooms open for the children? He's not even giving you a breakdown on paper or on tablet. He's just telling you what your words. He ain't showing you no kind of proof or nothing. And people are just sending him money. Meanwhile, he keeps telling you the historical reason and debating you about something. He pulled something from today, something, maybe some truth in history, and and then some people keep falling for it because he keep you race baiting in your own mind, keep you locked in the past with emotions, and it's really something. And there's other people who got sense enough to see what's going on, and the people who got the sense enough and can expose it, they get criticized for trying to wake some people up and say, think about this. Why would someone keep running you around like that? If somebody has something already, how come it took a young man who's 20-something years old down in Georgia within a year or two to get a school going for some black boys? Why does it take another person in New York that's starting out, got the website and everything that they teaching black children? The guy named Q Butter. How is it that he could do that? And he's gradually probably building himself up to a building because he knows expenses, and he probably takes into the fact that expenses and taxes and all that stuff. But he works with what he got and able to do what he can do, and actually showing you the children being happy and teaching, taking you. He's showing you. He's teaching the children. Show you the teachers and everything. Q Butter actually, he got a website. Then people criticize Lord Jamal. Did anybody really realize that Lord Jamal was part of a rap group from back in the late 80s and 90s? So he was well known in the public eye on the scene. And I think the rapper was named Kwame, but they had I believe it was three of them in the group, and him and this Kwame and this other guy was part of the group. So he's been exposed to the public. So he probably established connections and probably know people himself. Plus, he said that he had a father-in-law that knows the system, that's trying to give insight into Umar Johnson. But Umar got up in his ego, in his pride, saying, I got this, I know what I'm doing, we got the people. And then, he's trying to rush, he said, hey man, it don't take this long. And then, it was a bunch of denial. But Umar's supporters still support that. Wow. But have you ever, but I would ask his supporters, do you see any of the descendants that he be talking about? Do you see any of their relatives acting like that? Did they ever come to the internet on YouTube, Facebook, talk about donations from the public? We need cash after the donations to build a school. Do you see anybody? I'm talking about the descendants of the people that's in the book. Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner. Do you see any of their descendants? Name it. Malcolm X, name it. All any other people who want to open up school for boys and girls. Do you see them taking 10 years of people's money? No. I'm giving you something to think about. And then when you ever go back and watch Marcus Garvey, go back and watch Malcolm X, and compare Umar to them. Look how poised that they was. You didn't see them out there crowding it. Anybody have a disagree with, man? They weren't acting like a nut. They was always just running their mouth all the time. And when they ran their mouth, it was something constructive. But the thing about it is, he's making history the wrong way. They made his between Umar and these other people who we look up to in history, black history. They had some sense. He doesn't. And he's going about the wrong way. Like he's dragging people on. And the only reason why some people haven't supported him is because his own mouth. They're just pointing other people out. Look what is he doing. He's not being a man, a person of his word. And then when he don't take accountability. I'm just saying. And I was just thinking about that as I was in the shower. I said, yeah, you don't see their relatives acting like that. You don't see, and they had something on Sunday morning showing the descendants of Ida B. Wells, Frederick Douglass, excuse me, the descendants of Calvert Coolidge. What's the I forgot the other guy. I don't see none of their descendants using their relatives' name like that to come to the public. If they raise funds, they have a certain way that they raise funds, or it's someone to dedicate something or charity in the honor of their name. They ain't gonna call black people who don't agree with them a bunch of irregular childish names. Someone don't agree with me, then you ain't black enough. They don't do stuff like that. But you have a lot of immature black people. Really, and the reason why some reason why because they so intelligent. They don't sound logic. They have no intelligence whatsoever, and they go by emotions. And so he uses the emotions against you. I'm just saying for what I'm saying, because I have watched these people we talk about in history and their descendants, and none of their people carry on like the way he do. They don't have to exalt themselves. I never seen any of these famous people I just mentioned, their relatives who actually is related to them, who the news and specials go to them to see what their relative when they was living on earth, how did they conduct themselves? How is it that they can do that? They went there and say one stand, and I'm pretty sure their relatives not stand over their grave, calling out their name and praying to them, hoping to help them. And then they got to be on camera on Facebook and YouTube doing this. Do you see Marcus Garvey, any of his descendants doing that? Frederick Douglass, they descendants doing that? And then someone's able to pick it up, like a Leonard Arnold or KKC, or other people. Do you see any of them doing that? And he's making a mockery of himself. I don't know why they keep making fun, because you keep putting yourself out there, trying to get money. Instead of getting money, and then someone said, well, maybe you need to go do it another way. No. And people say, you just can't keep, that's not how the way you're going to keep money, keep running an organization like a school. Because you got to have taxes, insurance, equipment, staff, transportation, all the necessities. And then every time he does, he comes up with more gimmick, give me more money so I can do a movie now, a documentary about black boys. Again, he ain't complete the one project, but he's asking money for three things: pay his travel, buy his book for $50, give him money for a documentary, and keep giving money for a school that takes the next probably 5-10 years. He's using this. Started since 2009. Go figure. And the people supporting them, you know, they don't even use logic and think about that. They think the people doing it is hating on them. Don't you see the brothers trying to get a chance? He got a chance. He even got advice. There were people who was even to help him, give him land. This one guy proved that. Showed the receipts that they said, hey, they believed in your vision. He shunned them away. Then I come back to another thing. Can anybody out there help? You just burnt your bridges. But you're going to take accountability. I'm like, wow, you know. But what really amazed me is just that how people keep falling for it. And so many people that come to his lecture and never do no research, because some black people do not do research on people. They don't research them or nothing. Yes, it is discrimination, medical discrimination. Yes, there is, but there's a certain way you have to backtrack your information of what he's saying, because he haven't been in the field. He hasn't been around that stuff since he resigned about a decade ago. And I'm sorry, professionals have to keep up to date on stuff, to keep up with the new conditions, the diagnosis, behaviors of different people and how to handle stuff like that. Because it's probably different behaviors. Now that's what real psychologists and psychiatrists and people will do. They got to keep up on the game. They just can't work with some outdated stuff. Anybody that has any profession keeps up on the latest things, especially doctors. They have to keep up. Whether, I don't care, a dentist, a doctor, a neurologist, they have to keep up with the new stuff. In whatever part of the mind, body that they work on, they constantly got to go to school and learn new things, learn things to keep their license going. Plus, it's for HIPAA reasons. See, Umar supporters don't think about that. And something happens, if he don't have the insurance to back it up, he can get sued and make a child's condition worse and be sued. Then somebody say, hey, he diagnosed, and someone go back and try to sue him. Well, his support, it'd be his fault. Child might commit suicide, something like that. You don't think about that. Or his condition get even worse. Some children get, because it wasn't a proper way to instruct that. He's trying to do it his own so-called way. And there's some children out there, boys, that have legitimately have conditions. That's why those doctors do that. The different behaviors and what to do and how to handle it, how to talk to the child, not the way you do it. And when it's not your child, so you're talking to someone dealing with someone else's child. You can't put your hands on someone else's child. Of course, you gotta be firm and disciplined, of course, but certain times with certain ones, but not every child is the same. Not every condition is the same. And I'm surprised the ones who support Umar don't even understand that. They don't think about stuff like that. That's crazy, ain't it? That you hear that this man, I'm gonna show you this picture again. This man, excuse the buffering, at the bottom here, right here with the red mark, right at the end, he don't do no thinking, no logic thinking. He goes Babylon, and like I said, if you're the greatest, your colleagues will say that you're the greatest. You say, yeah, I seen his body line of work. He's excellent. I mean, you'll get respect all the way around. If you got something, if you're the best at something, you claim you be, people will be bragging about you. You don't have to say that you're the best. They'll say that, yeah, he's really good. But he's trying to sell him. That's what they call sell himself. But you don't have to keep talking just to be talking, just be talking. If you're good at something, what you do, your work will tell it. If you're the best at something, other people will give you, tell you. You don't have to say nothing. How good you are. If you, whatever you're good at, people would know that you're good, because other people will brag on how good you are in your field. So it seems like that's an insecure clause that he has to keep laying it out to people every single time. You don't hear any professional doing that. Black, white, or any other nationality people saying, I'm the best psychiatrist, I'm the best oracle, I'm the best whatever. You don't have even having wealthy people doing that, who have extreme wealth, and they're best at, or people who would discover something, who are best in their field. They don't got to say how the best they are. If they're the best brain surgeon, if they're the best mechanic, or they're on a car, or they're the best whatever, people talk about, well, damn, he's the best. He know what he's talking about. And some other people can back him up, who is his colleagues. Where's his colleagues backing him up? Where's the testimony that the parents of the people he helped, claim he saved people? Where are the testimonies? Have any kids saying, came years later and said, Dr. Umar helped me out? See, you supporters, you need to understand that it takes other people to validate you. Not someone just running their mouth, and just anybody can be clever, witty, and swifty. And someone can entertain you like a comedian, but at the end of the day, make you laugh. But what the information gives you, is it backed up? Is it backed up? And I'm going to dedicate this video to Umar supporters. So you need to really sit down and analyze this. Analyze, go back and you know, whether you're a strong black man, strong black woman, young and old, and everything in between, go back and look at those videos of the founding mothers and fathers. Study their personality. Read their books. Do you see anybody acting like a nut? Do you see anybody having free time and have some photographer showing Margaret Garvey screaming over the grave, saying, "I'm tell his people I'm the greatest"? Do you see Malcolm X ever did that? Ask yourself that. And listen to the Umar supporters. And do you think these other people's descendants, who we read about in history, who did miraculous things, have they ever have any of their descendants come and ask the public for cash apps and donations to build a school with should took like 2 years, but it's taken 10 years? Do you think Malcolm X's family would do that? Do you think Marcus Garvey's family would do that? Think about that. Or are the descendants of these people making a name for their way for their own to go to their greatness? Because it's like the same thing how the Bible goes. Even though, and it's how Jesus put it, greater, I do the great things, but you'll be able to do greater things that I will be able to do if you come through my name. That's the same principle. Other people come before you, but there's other people going to carry on another mantle of greatness that people can witness and testify. You don't have to say, you don't have to brag about nothing. Use your mouth. You don't have to brag, because that, and that's the truth. And so it's just something to think about. With some people so fat, they so fat, seductive with the tongue, but when you take off the witty, the charming, the so-called, a little charisma, but as a person, where do they really stand? And does their body of work show you? Where's the testimonies of other individuals? If they're the best, if they're the best and most requested in the world, then other people give the testimony, right? Because if I was one of the best, other people should be bragging about me. I shouldn't have to brag to you. And you need to see whatever field I do. If I was a psychiatrist, you should see my work, and it should be backed up by other people saying, yeah, this guy's pretty good. So it's something to think about. So to you Umar supporters, really sit down and think. When you sitting there and you come to your lecture, let that go through your mind. You go see his lecture. See, hear, don't just be entertained, but hear, listen what someone doing, and then does it back up what these other people are saying? Why would they have to be jealous at him when he's telling you, if you don't do this, you gotta have enough money to keep your school going? You need these things. Keep it going. I say, one thing some black people really need to do in the community is really don't get so emotional when someone, just because something horrific happened to us in history, but yet it happened, but don't let it cripple you. It's causing you to hinder you from reaching your greatness. At some point you have to be your own person. I can represent my father. My father was good and great, but it's time for me to make my own way and my own legacy. And whatever great that God has put something in me to bring me out, so other people can testify of how good or great whatever that is. Because it takes other people from their stories to write about you, how good and great you are. Not sitting up here bragging and trying to be elementary about it. I don't have to hit my chest. I'm the great. I don't have to say I'm the best requested, whatever. Well, my work should be able to prove it. My demeanor, my attitude, my personality, and then my dedication, and then the people that know me should come behind me. Not just my family, not just a few friends, but people from the same field in every walks of life. Where's the other where's the other colleagues? Why have Umar not have his colleagues that can back up his work? Not just hear tickle the ear, see it on paper, who are the counselors who deal with mental health, adults, children. Just think about that. Have you But see, this is something that, again, you need to think before you able to respond to people who have a disagreement with you concerning him. You need to think about whatever information, like a man like Leonard Arnold try to show you. What does he got to gain when trying to show you the mindset of this person, the irresponsibility of this person? And some people, maybe his expression was maybe he must be on something, because, or something going on with him. I'm not saying that is allegedly, but hey, you see someone screaming and hollering over at the graveyard and talking this and talking that, and screaming in the cameras on the phone, and keep looking around like this. Oh, like this. What would you think? It don't look good. And other people are seeing this who are not black. Like they see it. They see it's like, what is so about this guy trying to make a name for himself? And another thing, why is he going to states where there's hardly no black people at? Oregon, Idaho. Ain't no Idaho Africans out there. Ain't Wyoming Africans. Ain't nobody, even if they were out there, gonna want to listen to that crap. And you supposed to be pro-black, and what are you gaining? People don't know you out there. I mean, it looks foolish, man. If that's today's leader, of a black leader in this country, that's sad. That's sad. I'm gonna be honest. That's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's boosting and acting irrational. Might be on some points with some truth, but he'll say something truthful like the devil. The devil can put something truthful, but then again, you see him again online. Someone picked up a video, and it'd be him saying something irrational. Yeah, I wish my computer was stopped up. I could show you what I'm talking about. People really need to think and stop. And don't think with your emotions. Think with logic. At least have questions. Why does someone like Leonard Arnold keep making videos? Or maybe or KKC or someone like, why they keep talking about it? Maybe they point to something that is not that what they're jealous about. They got the subscribers and everything. They got good jobs. They want people knowing them. So maybe it's that they're trying to point and say, hey, people, trying to let you know this person is irrational. But if you want to keep giving somebody is irrational, that's up to you. But I wouldn't give someone's irrational. Someone's crazy. Someone's going off the wall. I don't know. That's just me. It's sometimes you have to use what they call critical thinking, and then maybe that's some of his supporters need to think about. Use critical thinking, and critical thinking is go get a second opinion, see if it's validated. Even if you don't trust somebody who's the same skin complexion, at least find someone in your skin complexion can back up and know logically that they know the consequences, because they're not going to lose their license and their livelihood. So they got to tell you something good. You have black people who's just as good as the white people, but they got common sense enough to know this. But just like any other person. But he used that as a crutch. That's the reason why I'm using the skin tone, because he used that as a crutch to get people like it's that white man, it's that white man. Maybe the white man, but is it rational? What is that white man saying? Is it rational? Like any other man, is the information rational? And then you have to be smart about it. Like again, for your supporters, it's your children. At least do it for them, because you don't want the kids going worse. When if you want them to have a self-esteem and get better, or whatever condition that they've been diagnosed with, to get better, not someone to get probably make it worse to the point that they might do something crazy when they get older. At least do that for your children. At least back it up. I don't have children, but I tell you one thing: if I did, I would seriously back that up. Not because of what he says, but go find out for yourself. Do research for yourself. What he's saying, does it match up? And ask yourself, how somebody can be out the field for 10 years and not be updated with the latest things? And maybe there is some truth, but what he's saying, but is it backed up? That's all I'm saying. I'm just God is just basically mentioning like this, but this is to y'all, to you guys who support him. When it comes to your city, sit down and let the Most High God, if you believe in God, for some of you, open up your mind. Question things. Question everything. Question what I say too. Because that's what most people would do. But I say something, go back and check it and question it. Don't just take someone's word for it. You don't know what their intentions is. Are their intentions right? Are they doing it for you? Or are they doing it to get something out of you? Do they care about you? Do they love you? Does he really love your children? And the reason why they say it does, because if he love his own children. Because if he can't love his own children, he can't love your children. Like he love his own children. Because how would he like if someone did that to his children? Misdiagnosed him or something like that. Turn out something worse. But it can happen. Because whatever you do, it can flip back on you. It might flip back on you personally or someone around you. I don't wish that on anybody. But when you're doing dirt for dirt reasons, it affects people around you. Just think about that. Just think about it. Just think. Question everything. Question it. That'd be my suggestion. Like I said, I'm not a hater. I'm just a person that be concerned. Maybe like these other people. Save your time, save your money, save your mental health. And the future of your child too. So that's something to think about. So I hope this has been a really interesting video. Sorry I couldn't pull up the video since it's still, my computer is still buffering. But just think about what I'm saying. What I said earlier about the ancestors of these people. Would they was out there doing the things that he's doing? Go back and see their personality. And you see what a real proud black man and black woman and people are. They're different than they are today. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, you guys take it easy. Be blessed. Until next time, I see you around. Take care.